This is a meeting of the Town of Norton Zoning Board of Appeals. We have one new application on the agenda tonight. The applicant is Lucas Ray, 276 R Taunton Ave. Present use of premises is residential, proposed use is residential. The applicant wants to erect a garage with usable space above in the amount of approximately 6,000 square feet, I believe. And the building commissioner had issued a letter denying a permit. This does not say what zoning district the property is located in. However, at issue with the building inspector's denial is bylaw limiting business use to 25% of floor area of a structure. Building commissioner issued a letter September 3, 2019 to that effect.
It's residential 60, Chair.
Thank you. Thanks. But again, this applies anyway across the board.
Yes.
The building commissioner's finding. And by the way, because Mr. Wren is not here yet, Mr. Mooley is going to sit on this hearing for the record. Is the applicant present?
Yes.
Identify yourself for the record, please.
Lucas Ray.
Yes. Mr. Ray, what is it that you intend to do with the structure?
It's personal storage. I'm putting a gym on the second floor.
Are you represented by counsel?
Oh, yeah, he's my attorney. Yeah.
And identify yourself for the record. We know you, but
It's Attorney Matthew Costa from the office of Game APC, 73 Washington Street, Taunton.
Okay.
And the applicant.
and the proposed use is on the first floor garage storage?
Yeah, we're doing personal storage on the first floor. And the second floor is a gym. You can actually see with the engineering, I calculated, I had to send it to a structural engineer to recalculate the building to carry the load for the second floor for the gym. I bought Staff Fitness in Taunton and all the equipment, so that's what we're putting on the second floor.
When you say you bought Snap Fitness, do you don't mean, or do you, that you're relocating a business to the second floor?
It's a personal, I bought the equipment, I didn't buy the business.
Okay.
All the equipment is sitting in my shop in Taunton, and we're gonna, it's a personal gym.
Okay, just wanted to clarify. There's a letter in the packet from Gold's Gym. Is that different?
I bought 2 pieces of equipment from Gold's Gym as well, and I bought 20 pieces of equipment from Snap Fitness.
Okay.
So it's clear in the, engineering, you can see I increased the load from 40 pounds a square foot to 100 pounds a square foot to calculate carrying all that additional weight. So it's a significant change in my plan.
Building inspector, Mr. Carmichael is here. Thank you. Mr. Carmichael, well, first of all, are there any other questions for the applicant at this time? No? Mr. Carmichael, can you tell us your rationale and reasoning connected with your letter of denial?
The application came in May of this year, May of 19. I asked the applicant what the intended use would be. I waited 3 months for a set of plans to come in. Even though I'm supposed to act on it within 30 days, I waited 3 months for the plans dated December 2018 to come in. And those plans indicated storage only, storage first floor, storage second floor. So if you look at the plans, you'll see 12-foot doors, contractor bays set up, and an area segregated, which looks like an office to me. So I also question the need for 3 egresses to the second floor. The plans stated storage, nothing about a gym, nothing about Mr. Ray's business is also registered with the town and the state of Death Press. He has several trucks, renting bays in Taunton now, it makes no sense to me that he's going to be there. That was the basis of my denial.
Okay, thank you.
If I may,
Yeah, please.
I bought the house in 2006. I've been there for 13 years. I've never run my business out of my home location, except for my business office. I get my mailing there, and I do my computer paperwork there. I've never run a business. I've never stored leaded trucks at my property in 13 years. There's photos attached to this file that show my entire yard and everything surrounding my yard. I gave the inspector the opportunity to come down and take a look, because he has an Ginterberg property. I said, you can come around, look around. I don't have ladders, I don't have equipment, I don't have vehicles. I own 2 businesses in town. I also own a tan salon over here in the center of town, so I just find it hard to believe that he can deny me a permit, because his assumption is I'm going to stop running a business out of town. I rent a warehouse in Taunton, which I've had for over a year now, and the rent's cheap. It's where all my equipment's being stored. It's also where my gym equipment's being stored. It's taking up half of my space over there because I don't have anywhere else. When I bought my house, I had a big horse barn on the property, which had to come down because it wasn't structurally safe. So I used to keep my personal equipment in there and stuff, and my ATVs and my boat. I had a boat. When that barn came down, my boat was on in front of my house for like 3 years. The town was complaining about that because I didn't have anywhere else to put it, so I was putting it right up on 140, trying to get rid of it. I had to get rid of the boat because I didn't have any place to put it. Right now I got a 2-bay garage in my house. 1 bay is blocked off because we have a laundry room that cuts into it. The other bay has my quad and my 3 ATVs in there. I got 3 personal vehicles as well that I have no place to park them outside in the winter. So, I got a lot of equipment. I got a lot of personal stuff that is in my shop that doesn't need to be in my shop.
So you're not storing equipment there that's used in conjunction with your business?
I don't have anything related to my company in my yard or in my garage, in my house, on my property at all. And I never have in 13 years. I've never left leaded trucks on the property. I had a building on South Worcester Street as of like 5 years ago. I had a building on South Worcester Street, which I sold, and that's where I was keeping my stuff. And then I started renting a couple different places. That building, that's where I used to run my business out of. And that building got demoed, and I came to ZBA, we got converted over to residential lot, and got rid of that building.
I saw on the plan, I thought a trailer. I'm looking for it now.
Yep, so I had a trailer on the property a couple of years ago when I bought the gym equipment. So I needed a place to store a bunch of personal stuff, so I couldn't put it all in my house. I don't have the garage, so I bought a cheap trailer and I stuck all the gym equipment in there. And it was just getting dirty and the roof was leaking on the trailer, so I moved all that equipment over to my shop in Taunton. There's photos you can actually see in the file. I put all the pictures of my gym equipment, and I got rid of the trailer. So the building inspector had an issue with the trailer in the yard, which is fine. That's when I moved my gym equipment. So.
Okay, the plan, just for the record, is dated July 16, 2018.
So as far as the plan goes, my original plan I submitted to the building department was right around the time the new inspector came into and told me that everything was going online. So I had hard copies of everything, and he asked that I submit everything online. He wouldn't accept the plans the way they were, so I had to get everything converted over to PDF. That took some time with my architect. On top of that, I didn't think it was going to be an issue as far as labeling, the use of the building. So then he asked me to, what it was used for. I told him to put in a gym and personal storage. He told me that needed to be on the plan, so there was some setbacks in the time dealing with my architect, and then I had to have the engineering done because my structural engineer, Dempsey out of Foxborough, determined that the second floor couldn't carry the weight of the gym. That took 3 months.
Okay, I got you. I'm just asking, is the plan is the plan dated July 16, 18. That's where it's going to be sited on the property?
Yeah,
That's what's been submitted, so.
yeah, and then I resubmitted to the inspector about 2 months ago, the revised plan just showing gym usage on the second floor. I added a storage, changed it over, he asked that I change it over to
Talk about the building plan. I'm talking about the plot plan.
Oh, the plot plan, yeah, the plot plan hasn't changed.
Okay, all right. And that's what we're dealing with. So, just a question for Mr. Carmichael and the board, I guess. 25% is allowable under the bylaw for non-residential use, for certain types of uses. 25% of the existing structure, but here he's proposing to have 10,000 square feet of structure total.
6,000 total, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 6,000 plus the 4,000 of the house. So wouldn't it be, it would be 25% of the total, right?
House is about 6,000 would be of the existing. At the time of permitting, we based it on what's there. So it would have been based on the 6,000 square foot house, either 4,000 square foot.
4,000 something, yeah, okay, I see. That's why the math in the letter, I did the math, and I was thinking, well, this is of the existing house. You're saying that's the way it's done?
Well, at the time of permitting, that's what he had. But
Yeah, okay.
make a decision on based on what is submitted to me. What was submitted to me was December 2018 plans.
Yeah. Oh, December?
December 2018 plans. That's what was submitted into the application.
Talk about these plans?
Nope, those are BMI plans from the engineer. Those don't show the floor plans or the usage, so I waited for a set of plans.
Wait, do we have-
No, those are BMI.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you said December a couple of times, but the plot plan, as I call it, is dated July.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do have them, but I can't connect to the screen. I have them up here.
Yeah, so floor plans dated 2018, December 2018, it just says storage. They don't say anything about a gym.
Maybe this is it.
That's probably it.
Okay.
I uploaded the current plans, and we do have a hard copy here. I uploaded the current plans over a couple months ago to my file with the building department, and I never got a response.
I brought copies of the current plan, I can pass them out, somewhat bigger than that size.
Well, is it
Is
this?
it this?
It's that, but
No,
the upstairs can relabel to Jim.
We can
It
show you the
looks like that.
updated
I'll pass it
plan.
out.
And I did update the plan with the building department, so that's
Okay.
in the folder for months.
Okay.
Is it in the Dropbox?
No, I mean, this is,
Yeah.
We added the plans that Chris is talking about, we added them today.
well, I didn't know that.
So there's 4 sheets there, first and second floor and the exterior.
So what is this?
It is
This
that,
is
right?
labeled Jim,
It is
yeah.
that, it's just
Oh, is it labeled Jim?
This is
Okay.
labeled Jim.
All right, well, that's a little bit bigger if it helps.
Yeah. All right, we have it.
That much of two, that much of two.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, this is there. Okay, so, sorry we started without you.
Fade your way.
Traffic was awful.
Yeah, it was.
Took me almost an hour from Providence. Obviously, we can make a determination to overrule the building inspector or to modify the building inspector's decision with a provision that more than 25% isn't going to be used for non-residential use. Doesn't that solve the problem, Mr. Carmichael? If we have a provision in it-
Relief, then I've done, yeah,
In a decision,
yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Make a decision.
is that something that's enforceable then, and it travels with the land after?
Once he's up and running, then it'd be very difficult for me to make a decision.
No, I understand. No, I understand what you're saying. But,
Can I ask the reason for the the large base?
I got a boat, you know, we're gonna get the boat back, and I have my pickup truck, personal pickup truck, which I park in there. We got SUV, so I got a trailer that I drag around with my quads. So
I can see the building inspector's concern.
Sure.
I mean, we've had this come up pretty recently,
A
several
couple
times,
times
where
this year, yeah.
someone's had a business registered on property and they're using another facility, and the concern is build this large thing and then all of a sudden we have construction comes in. And I'm not saying you will, by all means, I'm not suggesting that you would, I'm just saying this has come up several times. And
I've never had a business run on my property, and I don't plan on it, so.
I mean, the pictures don't look like you do either, you know what I mean?
The other thing is the bay I have attached to my house, the one bay I do have, I can barely squeeze the car in there, and so that's why I don't open the big doors, just so I don't have any issues.
So,
I had a 32-foot Sierra, which I had to sell. It was on, like I said, it was parked in the street for years. It was, I moved it to my buddy's shop in Attleboro, because he took ownership of it for a while. He wants to sell it back to me, so it's been sitting in his parking lot for the last 3 years. And,
so your business is own vehicles, right?
my business does have, I do have 3 vehicles that, stay either in Taunton at my warehouse that I rent, or they go
Okay.
home with the workers.
So it's not, you're not planning to house those vehicles on
I don't want the workers, I don't want to run a business at all. I get a great deal on my rent at my shop, and I rent a large shop in Taunton. I've been there for a while, and
Do you have a rental agreement there?
I pay month to month.
Pay month to month.
Some of the checks here, it's a month to month. So, like I said, the warehouse I had in Norton, I had that for 2 or 3 years, and it's always where we parked over there until we got rid of the building. So,
questions?
What address is the vehicles registered to?
it's probably registered to my personal address. It's where my office, my home office is, my house. So my office for my home, my business is my house. So I run the tanning salon and the construction company out of my basement. So, that's billing purposes. I get mailing, my billing there. So it's, even when I had my property on South Worcester Street, I still had my mailing address at my personal house because I wasn't getting mail over this.
And no employees work out of, or would work out of the home address, correct?
Nobody works on it.
I mean, except for you, of course, yeah.
Yep.
The bylaw 175-4.4, there are a couple of sections that might apply. Principal use is defined as home occupation, custom work in a home or accessory building by resident with no more than one other person regularly employed and not more than 25% of floor area regularly devoted to such use, and no exterior storage or display of products, materials, or equipment. The next subsection says home occupation including professional offices, provided there are no employees other than residents and there is no visible exterior storage of products, materials, or equipment. I assume it's the first one that would, well, the first one is more limiting, that's the 25% area.
Can I ask, would you be continuing to operate your businesses out of the primary out of your house?
I'm just running, I do my paperwork in the basement, and that's where my
Right.
computer is. And it's,
But if this were to be built, you mentioned about storage in a gym, but
I'm not moving my
okay.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I
Yeah,
would
sure.
suggest that 25% would apply to the home office that's in the basement that Mr. Ray referred to.
It would apply to the structure that's there.
Right.
And the limitation would be that only 25% can be used going forward of the total square footage. Do you disagree with that?
No, I agree with that.
Okay.
I just wanted to be clear, that there's not a proposal to use the garage for any type of business use. So that's fine.
The applicant said that, yeah.
That's fine.
And the other thing too is,
Yep.
Mr. Carmichael said that it looks like there's an office there. I don't know where on the plan it shows an office in the plan. The whole second floor is completely wide open,
On the plans that were submitted dated December 18, there is an area on the first floor that is designated a partitioned off.
There's a petitioned off because I put one single bay, and then there's two separate bays. I did the one single bay for engineering, because they wanted a full wall there to carry the structural beams.
Okay.
So I had to petition that wall off. That single bay is petitioned off.
For the record, is there anybody else aside from the applicant or his counsel to speak in favor of the application? For the record, no. Is there anybody to speak in opposition to the application? For the record, none. Other questions, board, for the applicant or Mr. Carmichael?
You don't have any plumbing or, there's gonna be no bathroom,
There's nothing on the plan.
still heating, but.
I need heating, and there's no plumbing, there's no bathroom, I would've had to go through board of health for that.
No, I didn't see anything, so I figured I'd just ask.
It's a question for Mr. Carmichael. Is the existing pavilion and the shed that he has on the property, would that already be considered an existing accessory building? Either one of them or both?
For existing accessory structures, I didn't consider any of that within the square footage, just considered the primary structure.
We're only allowed one accessory structure per lot?
It's just the pavilion for my pool area, so
What is the pavilion consist of?
patio area, it's a, post
It's a roof carried by 4 posts.
So that's kind of what I'm looking.
It's not a walled off.
There's a picture of it.
Okay.
There's a picture of the pavilion. It says shed on the plan, that's what I'm asking. I guess
Okay.
any sheds
Shed
can,
is just a pool shed, that's for my pool equipment, so that's like a 10 by 8 by 10 shed for pool equipment.
I have not been to the site, so I can't.
but that would be considered an accessory building.
Anything outside the primary structure will be an accessory structure, absolutely.
What's the acreage here?
8.54.
Yeah, the assessors has it at the property at 372,002 square feet.
The house is listed wrong with the assessors, the house is about 4,500 square feet. We actually,
Yep.
when they came in this year, they made that change, so it doesn't show on this assessment until next year.
Okay, what it has right now is 4,469 square feet.
So they didn't make the change, so, yeah. They used to say 3,600.
Oh, okay.
I certainly,
Basement off, did they add that?
I didn't finish the basement off, so.
I-
That's because when they came in for their invasion, which they had, when they came in, they had to calculate the second floor, because I have an open ceiling in the loft, and they read the plan wrong, so. I had a tax assessor come in, and she took a look around and said that she got the square footage off and the 800 square feet.
I certainly understand Mr. Carmichael's concern from, looking at the plans and the other indications. And, his concern is our concern, but the applicant is telling us what he's intending to do, and we have nothing contradicting that. And I think what I would suggest is a decision allowing the application, but with the limitation language that I read from the bylaw. You care to discuss that or ask some further questions or talk it out?
But we can't grant a variance for more than one accessory structure, would we have to? If there's already a shed and there's already,
I don't know, is a shed is considered an accessory structure?
It's an 8 by 10 shed, not even 8 by 10, I mean, it's just
What-
covering my pool equipment, my pump.
It, we've never held people that closely. This is 8 acres. We could, if we wanted to, I guess we could
I'm just asking the
issue a
question.
variance for that specifically. I've never looked at a utility shed and considered it anything more than a utility shed. I guess it is an accessory structure. Let's look at the definition.
It's not spelled out too good, I don't think.
What's that?
I don't think it's gonna help us at all.
No.
I had a 30 by 40 horse barn on the property when I pulled the permit for the pool. So it wasn't an issue back then when, you know, I already had a garage in the property.
So it would have been existing non-conforming anyway.
So accessory use or building, use or a freestanding building customarily incidental and subordinate to the principal permitted use or building located on the same lot as the principal permitted use and not prohibited by 175-4.
If you go and look at so the middle of the property, is the top, it's actually.
Where's the section that says only one? Oh, what, there it is. I see. Thanks. I yellowed it out the last time. 175-2.2, no more than one accessory unit shall be permitted within a single-family dwelling. No, that's different. That's a unit.
Is that accessory apartment you're reading from?
Yeah, that is from accessory
Accessory
apartment.
apartment.
So where does it say only one accessory building? Is there a restriction on accessory
That's,
buildings?
it's kind of, it was my half question, half.
It may be, we were conflating accessory unit with,
Building.
yeah. I don't remember it coming up before, that's why I was looking at it.
Yeah, there has to be, because everything behind the property, somewhere in the trees, you have to.
So this is the property that goes through the second pond, right? It looks like?
Yes, that.
I don't see it.
I don't see it.
Clearly accessory unit as in accessory apartment is different than,
Right.
we've never paid attention to that, I can tell you that historically, you know, if there's a shed here and a shed there.
I guess it's more, well, you got so much land, you could build another one, and another one, and another one, still.
You could, but
Technically.
technically you'd have to get building permits, you know, and it would come before us again too, so we
An 8
have,
by 10 doesn't.
That protection.
Doesn't need a building permit, right?
No, anything under 100 square feet within this town,
Yeah.
200 square feet with the state.
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for the
I think
clarification.
he's fine.
Yeah, no, I think it is too.
Yeah.
We also have, you know, about 7 acres in the back, you know, behind the house. There's no additional place to build.
But if the
I was-
applicant were to want to put in an accessory building more than 100 square feet, then he'd have an issue and it would come before us and we'd get to decide again.
No, I wasn't
what's
saying he was
on.
going, I was just using that as an example
Yeah,
of
no, I-
why there is
For
usually.
some reason, it was in my head too, you couldn't have, it was in my head too, you couldn't have more than 2 sheds on the property.
I don't remember seeing anything in the bylaws that state the number of accessory units on a residential lot.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in there, but I could.
Right.
Except for accessory
accessory.
occupied.
Maybe
Right.
that's what I'm confused
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, accessory apartment.
Apartment,
yes.
right, right.
Right.
I only have one.
And there's a limit on the number of primary structures.
Yep, yep.
One as
But
well. That's
we-
6.5, 6.1
Yeah.
primary structures.
I mean, I would be comfortable saying it was okay.
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree.
I am.
6.1 and see if there's anything in there that would be
6.1 is now something
the
else.
definition of
Yeah, what is that?
one primary
Well,
structure.
it's in 175-4 now, right? Single family.
Right, that's what we bullshit.
Right, 6.
I don't know.
I don't remember it, I'm looking it up now, but I only remember it being primary
Yeah,
structures.
that's it, just one primary.
Primary.
I didn't know if it talked on accessory.
I'll,
I don't think it does.
I'm not sure where you're talking about. 6 is now called something else, so.
That's the dimensional limitations, 6, 175.6.
Oh, 175-6, all right.
Dash 6.
If you look at 175-6-1D3, non-residential structure, to meet the minimum lot area requirements for construction of a non-residential structure, parentheses, structures, the lot must contain a closed plot of land, so on and so on. So
Percentage of lot coverage, yeah.
yeah. So, but I'm kind of reading that it it implies they can have more than one non-residential structure.
Yeah,
There's,
true.
just reading, it's in 6.1, 6.1A.
Yeah.
It says, unless otherwise specifically provided herein, within residential districts, only one principal permitted building shall be located on a single lot. There's no discussion here on accessory structures that I can see.
I mean, as we know, people have a detached garage and they have a shed.
Yeah.
So I think that would,
I was
everybody would run afoul of it, or many people. But I think it was just the residential, the accessory unit, it was, because it rang true to me too when you said it, so. I don't think there's a problem here. I understand Mr. Carmichael's concern and why, you know, it was rejected initially, but I think if we put the restriction on it as read from 175-4, I don't think it's an issue. Speak up, I mean, if you disagree.
No, I'm satisfied.
And specifically, I'd suggest the language of 175-4.4 that says, home occupation dash custom work in home or accessory building by resident with no more than one other person regularly employed and not more than 25% of floor area regularly devoted to such use. And that there would be no exterior storage or display of products, materials, or equipment. And I think that covers building inspector and our concerns.
I would make that motion with that language.
To approve the application as filed with that additional language on it.
All right.
I'll second it.
Okay. First of all, is there a motion to close the public hearing? Nobody is here either in favor or in opposition. We heard from the building inspector very ably, and we heard from the applicant and counsel completely. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make the motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then the motion on the table to approve with the limiting language of as read.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
And is there any further discussion?
Nope.
I think that's appropriate. All those in favor of that motion to approve with the limiting language?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We'll draft up a decision and get it out. Okay, thanks.
21-day,
Well, we have to get the decision written up, and then there's a 20-day appeal period after that,
okay.
after it's posted.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. And, yeah, we'll hold on till we get to the next item, I guess. Appreciate the building inspector's catch on these unusual structures coming before us. I'm not sure why we have.
Keep coming.
I'm not sure why we have a bunch in this year. That's like 3 or 4.
That's, yes, the third one this year.
Yeah.
There are a bunch of accessory structures in town that have morphed or evolved into
Oh,
commercial.
I see.
So
So that's,
generally what happens.
it's an issue that you deal with.
Yes.
And at that point, you have to issue,
Once they're tested, they will like it.
okay. Interesting.
So we get relief now is fine. That's-
Well, but until
We had a
there's,
public hearing, so.
yeah, unless there's a violation.
Yeah.
So can,
Makes it legal.
Jim, can I just, which home occupation were you referencing? I'm sorry.
I would, this one, I don't know.
This
This
one.
one. That says 25%. It's the
No more
second
than
one
one
that says
other.
25%.
The one that doesn't need a
Yeah.
special permit.
Right, that's right, thank you, yes.
Okay.
The one above needs special permit. This,
I mean, I know what a house is, I hope, you know what I mean? I gotta take my word.
there's no evidence to the contrary,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
It's a challenge, because there's nothing
Right, that's
10
it.
years down the road. You know, I
Then it's-
totally understand Mr. Carmichael's concern.
Yeah, yeah,
It's again a lack of definition in the bylaw.
We had a public hearing.
to some extent. What do you suggest changing there? Or what do you suggest would be more helpful?
I know there's other towns, or there's many other places that have only one accessory structure on the property. I've ran into that before.
Really?
Absolutely. Or there's two,
Well, they limit the size.
limit the size of it to the size of the
We talked
lot.
about that
We
before.
tried to get that, but they voted it down.
And I was gonna say,
It's like area lot coverage, like if you can't put another accessory structure.
correct. You have a
You have so much.
300,000 square foot lot, you can put this, but you have a
you got-
10,000 square foot lot, you can't put
Isn't
a
that-
5,000 square
That's
foot.
partly taken care of,
It's some of it, but it
Lot
doesn't.
coverage.
Lot coverage.
Yeah, lot coverage is taken care of.
but that's all, yeah.
I think it's just because our town has a lot of large lots,
Right.
is one of the other.
Yeah. All right.
There was nothing in the proposal at town meeting about accessory structure limiting to
We
one,
did,
is there? I just can't, maybe that's where I thought, I'm trying to think of where it clicked into my head.
It was shut down, yeah, it was gonna be,
but limit to one?
no, just
No.
to the size of it.
Just the
Right.
size, yeah.
We work with what we have, you know.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay. Next on the agenda, general business.
We do.
Is general business in the room? Is corporal business. Okay. Bad joke.
So we do have some business for you all that, at the same night as town meeting, the board, they were the Board of Selectmen at the time. The change didn't happen until the town meeting, but they adopted a remote participation policy. Remember,
Yeah.
we talked about that a few months ago. So they now have given us the opportunity to, if you're not able to attend, you could, right now, you could call in to a meeting. And I've printed off the policy itself.
Yeah, Mike sent it around this afternoon.
Yeah.
I didn't get a look at it.
Well, we actually used it last night at Planning Board. One of the members could not come in, but it was really imperative that person be there. So it worked. We had a conference call, and they actually adopted it, first action they took that night, so that allowed the remote participation. But we have a simple form. If you all made a motion to support it, you would just sign this form, and going forward, if one of you weren't able to come, but you could take advantage of the remote participation if you thought that you were able to. So we've actually already started to kind of jump the gun a little bit. We've amended, one of the requirements is we have to put language on the agenda that says, members may participate remotely in accord with the provisions of 940 CMR and the town's remote participation policy, available review on the town's website. So we've already gone ahead and done that. We'll make that a standard part of the agenda.
Can it be a last minute decision?
Yes,
Okay.
as long as you notify us,
Yeah.
me, the chair, then you can. A couple things with it, like for example, if someone does choose to do that, within 5 days, I have to notify the Board of Selectmen, or the Select Board, of the participation. If you were to incur a cost to participate, like if you were, using FaceTime or something like that where you might charge, that's at your expense. An interesting thing about this too is, even if you have a unanimous vote, because of anyone voting remotely, you have to do a roll call on your vote.
Okay.
Nothing difficult, it's just something we would.
What equipment do we have in place to do this with?
We have right now a conference phone.
Where? I mean,
It's actually downstairs in the chamber.
Is it just a phone set, or is it a real conference calling feature with a microphone, omnidirectional mic, or is it a unit that sits on the desk, or is it
Yes.
just the phone?
It is.
It's a unit that sits on the desk.
Okay.
It's a mobile unit, and it works fine. It has a pretty loud speaker system.
Okay,
and-
that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it's one of those polycoms.
Yeah.
Polycom.
And as we are looking to expand on some of our technology, Chris is helping me to get a laptop, so a person could just even use something like Skype or FaceTime, that could be used down the road too. The advantage of that is if you have a presentation being made it's hard to, maybe hard to visualize it on the phone, but, you know, we could always point the laptop, yeah, the camera and the laptop in that direction so they can see it.
Well, as I said a couple months ago when Paul first brought this up, I'm not sure that I love the idea, but doesn't mean we can't adopt it as a possible use and then use it with discretion going forward. I just, seeing the person, being able to talk and converse with them, and also handing the plans back and forth and pointing with fingers is something that we do just about every meeting. That's all I'm worried about. Doesn't mean in a particular case we can't, you know, as long as we have all the stuff remotely as well.
If there's something we had to get into a court like happened at the
Right.
planning board, but the person calling in doesn't count towards quorum, correct? Is that-
Doesn't count toward quorum, but they count, but they can vote.
They can vote, but it doesn't count towards quorum.
Now,
So
that's odd.
what happened last
I
night,
wonder why that is.
Yeah.
I don't know, but what happened last night was, so we had two members who were not available, but one was out at sea and could not communicate in. The other could, but one of the members a planning board member who's been recusing himself as an abutter had to show up in order to get the quorum.
Huh.
And then once they started that item, had to recuse himself and then come back after they were done. So I don't recall if that's in state policy, but I think it is, but it's in ours. So,
Does this say anything about the number of us that can be on an island somewhere phoning in?
no, it doesn't.
So as long as we have 3 members here, the other one of us can be on an island.
Correct.
Puerto Rico,
Most likely
perhaps. Don't have to be in country or,
But at that point, I could just listen. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to, if you two were here and I was.
Right.
Well, I guess I could see.
be the
where-
voting members, right? That's what
Yeah,
you're saying.
exactly.
Yeah, right.
And if the select board appoints that vacancy too, then,
Right, then it's easier.
right.
So, as I'm saying, I'm not opposed to it, I just can see some problems. Would have helped a couple of times in the last year with us, I think, although the quorum thing is still an
Quorum
issue.
thing
We
would be
still have
hard
to
for
get
us.
three of us slugs here.
It's a new state law that's a part of that as well. If you lose the connection, you have to start the meeting.
Right. Well, the chair has the discretion.
Okay.
They have the discretion, but, yeah, they can stop the meeting until the connection occurs, or the chair can say, that person no longer can participate.
Or we need to do this in person for some reason, new plans handed in. That's what, if somebody came with new plans that night, I would say I wouldn't even be comfortable with a vote.
We wouldn't anyway, probably.
Sorry?
We probably wouldn't vote that night anyway.
Well, that's true, but it's happened before where somebody makes some change on a plan and they walk it in, that's all I'm saying. I would, at that point, I would say, just to protect us going forward, I probably wouldn't want to take a vote that night. So it might, in some ways, complicate things. But again, I'm not opposed to saying yes to the policy as a change, and we can see how it works. It's up to you.
Yeah,
Right.
I think it helps us out with, like, I think of Jim, sometimes when he misses a meeting, so you started on a matter, and then you have to miss it, then you're
You
trapped.
can only miss one.
That's true.
Right.
Wouldn't that,
That's a good
I
point.
think that would,
And when you have a more complicated one, you can only miss one meeting, but you have to make it up and sign your Mullen form.
Or you still have to do,
I guess.
No, you don't have to sign a Mullen form
With
if
this.
you're here.
Right.
That just gives you the opportunity not to have to go back and
Good.
view it and
So
go
that's-
through
that's a
that
good
and maintain
feature.
your,
So he wouldn't have to sign the Mullen form.
that's an
Or
improvement.
watch the video.
well, because you wouldn't be viewed as absent
Right.
from it.
Right. So
Right.
that to me it seems like.
So that's good.
And then the next meeting, if one of us isn't here, it's not a problem.
You can always continue,
Right.
you know, if someone
That's
introduces.
just to say, if I could even help it. I mean, most
Right.
likely it's gonna be me, but it's, who's getting right? It's gonna be me, but this policy applies to, so.
As it's in the winter, I like going on cruises.
I would tend to agree with the chairman in general, that We probably won't use it often,
But it
have
is
available. It's-
emergency.
I hate to give up,
Yeah, sure. So what do we have to do? Take a vote?
Yes.
And do, we have to sign something though? I didn't realize this.
You would just make the motion, go through
Okay.
your vote,
And
and
then record it.
whichever way it goes, you would just sign.
I see. Okay. So the remote participation, this is on the agenda, right? That was posted?
Yes,
at least
we did a revision. It was already there because you have a standing for review procedures, but we did add, and we cleared this through the town clerk. So we did an amendment to the revision to the agenda, and then we added this item to vote on the remote participation policy.
Okay. And the copy is here, distributed to you.
And then whatever you do, we will give this back to the select board. That's what they are now.
It's only audio, correct?
Yes.
You don't have to be on video also.
It doesn't
It
specify.
Doesn't say either way.
No,
It's easy enough.
Anything.
It's easy
Maybe.
enough with a
Maybe.
laptop or even my
Yeah.
desktop at work. I pressed the wrong button once and my face appeared on the screen. I said, I didn't even know this had a camera in it. No, really.
Put a piece of tape over that.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I'm sitting there falling asleep and the judge calls in or something. It's not something you want to see.
Sorry.
I don't even know what I pressed. It's just, what? Where's this coming from? It was a strange feeling. Okay, so is there a motion to adopt use of the town's remote participation policy for the zoning board of appeals?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it, so I can do something for me.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor of adopting?
Aye.
Aye. For the record, all four. Okay, what do we have to sign on Lives Away?
you just do here, so we will
Just to record the
say-
vote?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'll do that in the minutes.
Ah, I see.
And we do not have minutes for tonight, minutes from the last meeting.
We had a draft, but that's fine.
Okay.
Drafts were in the,
There were a couple things in the first paragraph that I think didn't fit there, but
Okay.
that's fine. We can look at it and talk about it next time. Hold on one second. That's better. That's it?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anything else to discuss? There was, we're not going to talk about substance, but as you know, we were, I think, each served with legal process papers.
yes.
It's the formality, the zoning board is decision being appealed, and that's just how it's done. I had sent full copy of what I got off to Amy, and town council will handle it. And there's usually no participation by us because the record is what the record is, and that's what gets up on appeal. I'm just telling you how, my understanding of how it works. These minutes will be part of the record, the ones
Yes.
that we're talking about.
Right.
They'll fairly track the decision anyway, as the draft already did, so.
Right.
I mean, if we have any substantive questions, then we would ask Amy and we talk about it in executive session. But I don't, does anybody feel any need to do that tonight? I certainly don't. Okay. Just wanted to mention that. Is there anything else to come before us?
No bills,
This
no-
was too easy. We're now the select board, no wait, we're the ZBA select. I just want to be called select something. We're the select members of the ZBA going forward, right, Paul? I think we can do that. Apologies about the last meeting and the cancellation at the last, well, it was three of us really that were affected, or had an effect on it, so, but here we are. And next meeting is when?
20th?
November?
20th?
Which is the week before Thanksgiving, right? It should be, yes. It's
Yes.
a week before, so that's good.
Yep.
All right.
Is there anything on already?
Sorry?
You have it on your calendars.
No, I'm saying, is there anything for the meeting?
We have
We do have something that's coming in.
It's the 20th.
I have no
Oh,
idea.
that's right,
We
you already
have
put
a
it on.
couple of items, couple of variance applications.
Okay, well, get them in Dropbox so we can take a look and we'll go from there. Motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Want to do something?